Hi guys, we're back at it with the ninth episode of AFK Thoughts. Today, I didn't really think too much of a topic, but I was just considering maybe doing a topic about how I'd relate RuneScape similar to life. And the way I'd say that is RuneScape itself is a video game, right? But it's a little bit more complex than that. On top of that, like if you're a main, right? You have a bunch of different skills, and you could allocate time towards doing a specific activity to either benefit a skill in terms of experience or to increase your bank size. And it almost feels like real life, right? If I wanted to put more hours into my work, or I wanted to choose a different thing and do a different line of work, I could make more money doing one thing, or vice versa. I could, put more time and effort to learn a skill. And it's really it's really quite fascinating. I've tried to explain this to my friends before, but they when I tell them that RuneScape is extremely similar to real life, they just really don't understand. So, I'm going to try to lay it out. Let's say, okay, you need money in RuneScape to do a skill like building a house, okay? Cuz construction's a very expensive skill, and you're not going to be able to do that without money on a main for the most part, unless you're like a really dedicated person that wants to go out there and cut all those mahogany logs yourself, and then wants to do plank make, either the spell casting or to actually just, take it to a sawmill. I don't think people are going to take things to a sawmill. I believe they're probably going to plank make. If you're already 99 mage, it's not really beneficial, so I don't really see a reason to get 99 mage before that. I think you need like 87, level 87 or something. But ultimately, my plan on the Iron Man is to plank make the whole time, and I'll probably start at like 87 or 86, whatever the level is, and I will make planks like that. Ultimately, it's going to save more time than walking to the sawmill, and as an iron, I can't just buy the planks directly from the Grand Exchange. But if you need money on a main because you're going to buy the planks instead of plank make, you need to figure out like where you're going to allocate your time to get the most recoup on your investment of time. So you probably wouldn't just be doing things that are only worth like 500k an hour. You probably wouldn't do things that are worth maybe a mil. If you're really inexperienced with bossing, you might do something like a mil an hour, like maybe killing the giant mole, or maybe like an alternative method that just makes money. But in real life, I feel like I'm kind of a jack of all trades, right? I feel like I am similar to the way that my main is set up. A lot of people, when they play their mains, they will focus heavy into combat, and then once their combat stats are maxed, then they'll start doing the rest of the content in the game. But in my mind, I'm like, okay, so you did a lot of combat because you found that fun, right? You find that enjoyable, and they're like, yes. And then I'm like, okay, so now that you're rich, you're gonna go do like rune crafting all the way to 99, and then they're like, yeah, and I'm like, but it's not really gonna benefit you because you already have so much money that you're making from just combat. What's the point? And then they kind of look at me like, what are you talking about? And I just don't think that the players that spend a lot of money or like do combat regularly, I don't think they're going to later on decide to go max their account, because all the other skills in this game, let's face it, they're fairly boring for the most part. They're very primarily they're either AFK or they require a lot of like endurance, like they're click intensive, but they're not going to net you a benefit as much on a main or when you're already max combat. Like on my main, I just now hit like 99 mage, like I don't know, a month ago or something, but I had already done a bunch of things to get my mage. It's almost like a friend that I've talked to has also said that they want to focus on combat, and then once their combat's high, then they'll worry about things like Slayer. And I'm like, why wouldn't you go kill two birds, one stones? Achieve two objectives with the same action, like two goals with the same action. Like, I don't understand why you wouldn't do Slayer and train your combat. And then they'd be like, well, I'm missing out on max hits and this and that and this and that. I'm like, okay, so if you're already max combat, now you have to go train more combat past 99. And if you're already doing content in the game that makes a lot of money, like raids or bosses, like high level bossing, what point is there for you to then later on go and do like Slayer, eventually get to Cerberus or Araxor or a chemical Hydra? Like, what is the point? What is the point of doing that after the fact? I mean, you're just ultimately going to be spending a lot more time in the game, and I just don't see it as like a benefit. Maybe I'm wrong, and if you disagree, please message me. And I would like to get some perspective on it, but I just don't see that happening. I believe that since especially if you're main, I don't see why you would do your combat. Like if you get money, then you think you can buy a lot of the skills outright. I'm gonna tell you that's just a lie. I mean, yeah, you can buy quite a few of them. Like you can pay for herb lore, get that out of the way pretty quick. You can pay for prayer, get that out of the way pretty quick. You can pay for like construction, get that out of the way pretty quick. But things like wood cutting, things like mining, things like fishing, pretty much all the other skills that I can think of. Maybe not like smithing, you might be able to pay and get some out of the way fairly quick. But like, there's so many other skills in there. Like Slayer, that's only like I feel like Slayer's only goal is to make a player money, especially when they're low. But if you already have like $1 billion in the bank or $2 billion in the bank, and now you're only like 60 Slayer, what's the point of going all the way to 99 Slayer? You're just gonna be like miserable. I mean, yeah, you'll have like the best gear, and I guess they could go faster, but like you have a lot of XP in Slayer. It's a very slow skill to train. And how I relate this to real life is if you have things that you need to do, right? If you're money oriented, probably pick your best money maker. Just like if I was on my main and I needed money, I would probably pick my best money maker, whatever it is. But I also feel like I'm a jack of all trades, and the way I matriculated my RuneScape account is I put a little bit in here, put a little bit in there, put a little bit in there. Like I get like the base. I get like the base. Like I don't think I have a single skill that's 99 on my main besides like combat, which would be like mage, range, and HP. I think those are the only three 99s I have. But I don't see a point of getting I don't see a point of not being basically 99 Slayer and then having max combat stats and then continuing to go do Slayer. I mean, yeah, you'll do more damage. It'll be easier for you, but it's gonna consume so much more of your time. If you sat at Nightmare Zone all day, I don't know, just doesn't feel useful. But in real life, that stuff doesn't really happen, and I feel like there's a lot of different avenues that I want to explore. Like some days I want to go do herblore, or in my experience, be like mess with coding on my computer. Or some days I want to go do like fishing, but in my experience, that would be like actual fishing. Some days I feel like I want to go do hunter, and I'd want to go do hunting. Some days I want to go do like I don't know, smithing, but for me that would be like doing messing with circuit boards and robotics. Sometimes I just want to study, and for me, it's just there's a lot of different avenues I'd like to approach in real life, but it's just hard to find. Okay, so in my experience, there's not something in real life like combat. You can't just like do one like there's no guaranteed way to make money in real life. You have to find a drive. Like you could go work a minimum wage job, but yeah, that will make you some money. But what happens when you want to move on to something else? I feel like you spend so much of your time working that minimum wage job, and then you have like no time to even go look for other jobs. So then you're kind of stuck in that situation. And I don't feel like I want to like carry all my eggs in one basket, throw myself wholeheartedly into a skill, and then push it all the way to 99. I would rather go dabble in this skill, get that up quite a bit, go dabble in this skill, get that up quite a bit, go dabble in this skill, get that up quite a bit, and then see what I like the most and see what generates me the most money. And I need to find whatever it is like combat, because combat in RuneScape's the way to make money. I mean, you could do like rune crafting and make some money, or you could go do like thieving and make some money, or you could go do, you know, There's other options, but combat ultimately will result in the highest GP per hour. It's just inevitable because I guess they don't care about the skillers, or maybe it's like there's so many skilling options that are just botted to absolute hell that there's no recovery in the market. But if all those bots were banned, in my thoughts, if all those bots were banned, and then there's the few players that actually enjoy doing that content, I would hope that those players would be rewarded for all their efforts for, you know, doing those things and keep on pace for an hourly rate. But instead, anybody who's not doing combat, you're basically getting minimum wage. You're getting like the absolute minimum. Sometimes you're even paying to get less. And I don't know. It just kind of bothers me a bit. It just, if anyone understands that, or anybody doesn't understand it, or somebody has like a different perspective, they completely agree with me, they completely disagree with me, please let me know. Um, Again, there was so much support on the first video, and I'm pretty sure that's because I just got a piece of Dagon High or something. But the other videos haven't been doing too popular, which I don't really mind because it's not for them, it's for me. But yeah, I just want some feedback, I guess, because in my mind it makes perfect sense. I I wish I could do what I love and make me the most money potentially versus the things I don't like. So it would be like if I don't like doing combat, forced to do combat because I need money. I would rather be able to do things like runecrafting or herblore if those were things I liked, for example. I would rather do those things and then make a living out of it. And in real life, there's not one all be all answer like there is in combat for RuneScape. But I don't know. Just kind of another rant today, guys. Please let me know what you think in the comments. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe I'm completely right. I won't know unless somebody tells me otherwise. But appreciate you listening. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow.